How to sell your home in a competitive market in 2025. Yes, you'll see the latest data that prices are up from historical data, but make no mistake, this market is softening. This guide will help you sell successfully in our new competitive market. My name is Paul Dunham, and we help people move in, out, and around Northern Nevada. We'd like to help and can be reached using the pinned comment below. Picture this: a seller in Northwest Reno hits the market today. Even in our softening market, they still receive multiple offers. How do they do it? It all comes down to smart pricing, killer staging, and bold marketing. Let's go into detail how that seller stands out in our current softening market. We'll arm you with 4 proven strategies to sell the deal quickly and tips to dodge costly mistakes. This is your masterclass of selling your Northern Nevada home at top speed. Yes, everybody knows year over year, Northern Nevada house prices have soared. But now as you start looking at the week over week data, the monthly data, we are now in a new market. The market has softened. Where once median days on market was only 10 days, now we're reaching 30, 45, 60 days, depending on the neighborhood. Now, 5-6 years ago, that was very normal and what everybody was used to. But we experienced 2 years of a red hot market. So now this time of spending a month, 2 months, 3 months on the market can feel very uncomfortable. What's slowing down the market? First and foremost, interest rates. Most of the year, our interest rates have been around 7%. In the previous years, though they've hit 7%, and even 8%, it was for short periods of time, and the market didn't have time to adjust. Now, well into the second half of the year, the market has had ample time to adjust to a 7% interest rate market. So what are we seeing? We're seeing buyers still active and wanting to buy, but it has to make financial sense. The payment has to make sense. Where the disconnect happens is sellers enter the market as though interest rates are 5, 6%, and there's a major gap between buyer and seller finding an agreement. That is now making inventory soar. And sellers that are in disagreement of today's market, we're seeing the highest number of withdrawn and expired listings in the last 10 years. So why isn't the market crashing? Why are we only in a softening market and not a crashing market? It's simple. Northern Nevada is one of the most attractive areas in the United States to move to. And year over year, thousands of people relocate here. And we're simply running out of space to build. Our mountain ranges are very close together. And in the valley, there's not really any place left. That creates limited supply. So even though we have all these variables pushing against the housing market, our limited supply and high demand are still preserving prices so that there's not a crash. And in the outer areas where there's plenty of land to build, there's still not quite the amenities that out-of-state buyers want, so they still focus on the valleys, whether it be down south in Gardnerville or up north in the North Valleys of Reno. This is preserving the real estate values, even with all these outside pressures. Why else is the market not crashing and only softening? Jobs. We have so many companies moving to the Northern Nevada market because of our tax environment and our employment environment. Massive construction is underway both in Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the Reno Tahoe Industrial Center. That's bringing in industrial jobs, and then supportive jobs follow: retail, construction, and other amenities to support that workforce. So how do we know it's softening? Right now, between 1 and 4 and 1 and 2 homes are reducing their prices to sell. Days on market is increasing, and inventory is increasing. That all shows the market is softening. So how do you set yourself apart? Let's go over 4 power strategies. Strategy 1, and the most important: get a spot-on marketing price. This is always a hard concept for a seller to remember, but a marketing price is not real money. It's just a number. It's just a number to compel buyers to write offers on your home. And it is the offers that are the real money. Here's another way to explain that. Let's say a seller overprices their home by $50,000, and that seller has to reduce their price by $50,000. Many sellers feel like they lost that money. But remember, it's only a marketing price. So that seller did not lose their money. That seller did not lose $50,000 because nobody was willing to give it to them. Never forget, only offers are the real money. So marketing price is a tool that's used to compel buyers to write offers on your home. It's ultimately up to you which offers you choose to work with or not. Now, before we talk about pricing right, let's talk about why pricing wrong hurts. Overpriced, pretty obvious. The market disagrees with you, moves on to your neighbors. But if I said marketing price is just a marketing tool to excite buyers to write offers, why doesn't everybody just underprice their homes by $300,000, $400,000? Because it creates a side effect of attracting the wrong type of buyers. So let's say you list your home for $700,000, and this argument would say you should list it for $4 to create a frenzy. Well, what happens is that people who can actually afford $400,000 homes think that your home is a contender when it never was. So that's why the market doesn't adapt to just purposely underpricing homes, because it accidentally attracts the wrong type of buyers. So you have to still stay within a reasonable range so that you keep the buyers that don't have a chance away, and only attract serious buyers that are in the reasonable range of the value of your home. So how do we figure out the right marketing price? There's two variables. There's price point, the ultimate marketing price of your home, and price per square foot. And there's more of an art to price per square foot because sometimes it can't be taken literally. So in building your marketing plan, see where you lie with your marketing strategy with your neighbors. Look at your price, then pretend to be a buyer. What can I get for this price? Because you remember when you bought your home, how many homes you looked at before you made that decision of writing an offer on the home you lived in. Buyers are doing the same thing right now. Are you in a mix of 10 homes, 20 homes, 30 homes? Are you the only home in this price range? All those things come into consideration. Another mistake on pricing your home right or wrong is not looking far enough. Remember how wide you looked around the neighborhoods before you considered buying your home. Did you look only a quarter mile from your house? No. You looked at all different neighborhoods. So cast a wide net when you understand your competition. Remember how you looked and explored free homes. Are you in a price range where a buyer can jump neighborhoods and now you have a whole nother set of competition? These things matter. And in today's market that's softening with high competition, you have to outcompete them. Price is the number one way to do this. You should be on the lower end of the competitive properties because those houses, even in today's market, are selling and often receiving multiple offers. Multiple offers drives back up the price. So while your neighbor is sitting in the middle of the data, not receiving offers, buyers are excited to work with you because it shows you're serious. You want to find a deal. And often there's enough buyers out there that want to compete to work with a seller just like you. So tip one, be on the lower end of the data, both by marketing price and price per square footage on your house. Strategy two, stage like a pro. If you are serious about selling, it's time to start moving out. Staging is what that is, partially moving out. Go room by room, declutter, and picture your home as a model home in a new development. Maybe even take a walk through some of the new homes so you can get a feeling for what the corporations are doing to present their homes to their prospective buyers. You need to do the same. It's time to depersonalize so that the next buyer can picture their lives in your home. We have a full video on this. Presentation is crucial. So you might ask, where does all this stuff go? I normally encourage the garage. You can pack boxes to the ceiling in the garage. Buyers don't care. Make sure you put them in the center a little bit away from the wall so that when you do reach a deal, the home inspector can properly inspect around the garage. I deal with that a lot where inspectors don't inspect the garage and it frustrates the buyers because there's too many things. So make sure you do stack things in the middle of the garage where an inspector can walk around the boxes. But the garage is a great place to use temporary storage while you get ready to sell and move. There should be hardly anything in your home when you go to sell. Generic wall art, large pieces of furniture, 1 to 2 items on top of each furniture, if any, 3 to 4 items on your kitchen, if any. Same with the bathrooms. Staging is also cleanliness. If you've toured homes, you know that some people don't take care of their homes. This is a direct correlation of how strong of offers you're going to receive. So part of staging is cleanliness. Your home should indefinitely look deep cleaned through the entire marketing process, both inside and out. Again, we have a whole video on this. Watch those details. But presentation through staging is the second most important thing when prospering in a softening market. Strategy 3, this is where your realtor comes in. Proper presentation for today's buyers. Does your property need drone photos to showcase the backyard? Are you in a price point where a buyer expects to be able to virtually walk through your home before ever getting on that plane or in the car to come see it in person? It's sad to say that we don't all do professional photography, but that's a crucial one. I consider that a standard, no matter what price point you're in. Most buyers will fully research your home digitally before ever considering it. Most buyers look on their phones. So the better you can present on a phone, present on a tablet, present on a computer, the more buyers you're going to attract. Strategy 4, sweeten the deal with incentives. So you might see a lot of the data right now talking about prices going up, but there's one thing that they're forgetting to talk about is the seller's proceeds. And this is what I mean by a softening market is we are seeing sellers' proceeds change. And it's because although strong prices are showing on the news, there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes that can affect the seller's proceeds. But knowing this and advertising this can give you a competitive edge, because for many, it's ultimately happening anyways. One of the biggest things are incentives and credits to the buyer. We talked about interest rates being 7%, and that's causing the market to soften. But what if you gave that buyer money to help them get their interest rate under control? They'd be in a position to give you a stronger marketing price, or be qualified to purchase your home where they otherwise cannot. This is a great way to take advantage of today's market because your competitors are probably accepting offers like this anyways, but they didn't take the time to advertise that they're open to agreeing to it. Offer incentives to this prospective buyer, offering 2%, 3% of the purchase price to give back to them to help them with their loan that we all know is a strain on them because of the interest rates. And think of it this way. You've driven by the signs to see all the incentives that the new builders are offering to purchase their homes. They are competition. They're trying to compete against you, the reseller. So follow their strategies. Offer incentives just like they did. Very few of your competitors are doing it, and it can give you that upper edge. Deal killers. Let's talk about ways to dodge the deal killers. Even in a market with the right strategies, there are mistakes that can kill the deal. And a lot of it is the opposite of the strategy I just mentioned. First deal killer, overpricing your home. There's far too much choice and selection in the market where buyers will not tolerate it. If you want more than the market will bear, the buyers will quickly move on and ignore you. And you will turn to what's called a stale listing. Then in a softening market, you end up chasing it. And being behind the market can feel very frustrating. And with withdrawals and expireds reaching a 10-year high, this issue is widespread. Serious sellers need to make sure they understand the data and always be on the lower end of the data to outcompete their neighbors. And remember how you looked at homes. Neighbors doesn't mean just down the street. It can be 3 neighborhoods over. So really cast a wide net to decide how you lie within your competition. Underpricing robs equity. If you underprice your home too far off of the data, you're going to attract the wrong type of buyers. Your house also may be so low that the buyer who actually would be the correct person may not even consider it because they question if there's a condition issue or it's not the right type of home that they're looking for. And this is what I talked about before. Too far below the data will mislead the market and confuse them. And you don't want that either. My recommendation, because we're not in a rising market, be within the data, but you need to be on the low end of the data. Deal killer 2, hiding defects. First of all, this is illegal, but if you do hide things, you're gonna pay for it later, especially in a softening market, because these defects are gonna come up 2 to 3 weeks after you accept an offer and remove your property from the market. We talked about the market softening. So if you're not upfront about issues that the buyer takes on, you can have a deal fall apart and have to go back on the market. And what if the market has softened further? Now you're behind the market, chasing it, trying to find that top price. So be transparent. Find that right buyer under the circumstances so that you're not killing deals going back on the market 2, 3 times. Plus in Nevada, it's wildly illegal and you can be held financially responsible. If you have cracks in your foundation, show it. Don't hide it. Unless you intend to truly repair the defect, my recommendation, be transparent. Attract the right type of buyers. Are you going to make less? Absolutely, because you chose not to fix it. But being transparent will attract the right buyer so that you're not falling in and out of escrow all the time. Pro tip, negotiate like a boss. Don't be hardline and stonewall. This advice can apply to buyers too. Always be the last person to send the message. That means don't reject. Always issue counteroffers. Now, if an offer comes in completely ridiculous, it falls into the category of way underpricing your property, may not be the right type of buyer. Not what I'm talking about. If they're a marketable buyer who is clearly in the marketplace that you're seeking to attract, always issue a counteroffer. Let them reject you. Never reject them. Offer credits to find solutions. Problem solvers prosper in today's marketplace. The stonewallers fail and are a part of that group of withdrawals and expireds. Be solution-based. Don't be firm on your grounds, because if you're too firm in a softening market, you might be taking lower the next time. If you miss the mark, don't be afraid to reduce your marketing price. Remember, you're not losing that money because nobody was willing to give it to you. So although the ultimate goal is not to have to reduce prices and receive offers in a timely fashion, sometimes it's hard to predict markets, and you don't know until that sign is in the front yard. If you got it wrong, it's okay. Change your price. Show buyers that you're serious about trying to find a top dollar buyer. How long should you wait? My recommendation is 14 days. Sometimes you can find out in as fast as 10. There was a market where it took 30 days to figure out the market. No more. We're in the digital age. People are making decisions in split seconds, and you will know very quickly if they like or dislike your house. If you're not seeing activity and interest in 14 days, you should drop your price. If you are receiving activity and interest but no offers, sure, then you can hold out. But if those showings start to fade and it gets quiet, you miss the mark. It happens. It's hard to predict markets, especially one that's changing such as this. So be prepared to have price changes as a part of your strategy. There are sellers in this market doing fantastic, even with high competition and in a softening environment. And those with a competitive mindset wins. Apply these tips and avoid these mistakes to prosper in today's marketplace.